he goes in and he's watching him, and he's watching Kobe shoot and play and practice. And one thing that he's thinking is, he's like, I teach high school basketball. I've taught basketball before. A lot of stuff that I'm seeing, it's not crazy. It's not this super, like you'd think Kobe be doing like spins and,
Just next
behind
level
the
stuff.
back stuff, right? Like something, but it was all very, very kind of simple stuff that he's seen before. So then he asked Kobe afterwards. He says, Kobe, man, you're one of the greatest. Don't take any offense when I say this, but a lot of stuff I seen you do today, it was just simple. It was just regular stuff. Like what's the secret sauce? And then he kind of looks at him and he smiles and he winks and he says, that's the difference between me and everybody else. I don't get bored with the basics. The Iron Cowboy, James Lawrence said. So he was saying that everybody's hard's different, right? Everybody's hard, everybody's level of hard is different. And it's the same in endurance training as it is in business, where the first time you do something, the first time you run, that's hard. The first time you run 5K, if you've never ran 5K before, the first 5K, that's tough. It's a challenge. And then getting to 10K is a challenge.
Yeah.
But eventually, you build that up and you keep pushing past these barriers. Right. Now you're running a marathon. And now 5K is easy. 5K is no longer that hard. Same in business, where you start off with YouTube. The first video, that's hard.
Fucking brutal.
The second video, it's hard. And then you try to figure out, can I do 2 in a day? That becomes hard. But then you start getting to a point where it's like, okay, I've been doing it for so long now that it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And you start getting better at it, and you start finding the tweaks and the adjustments.
Because you're scared. A lot of it's fear for people too.
Yeah, a lot of it's fear. A lot of it is just, it's just practice. But I mean, are people scared to go to the gym?
Yeah.
Are they scared to walk in? They're scared to be judged, right?
Yeah,
sure.
that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. But even once you get in, and then it's like, well, what am I going to do?
I just got back from Nashville about 3 weeks ago. Crazy, unbelievable.
Yeah. So
show. It was a fucking show, and we came back with a fire under our ass.
What was your favorite part of Nashville?
Besides, oh man, man, I think Ed Mylett had me crying pretty well.
He did, absolutely.
Yeah.
I was in tears. What was it about Ed Mylett's motivational talk, and how much did you know about Ed beforehand?
A little bit, not nothing too crazy. He shared his whole life story with us there, and it was super cool, man. It's just when he was flicking through all the clips of like how his life is so short.
Yeah.
To sum it up, how short life is. Like he was flipping through the pictures at the end. He's like bang, 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 and every time he did that, it was a different picture. And it's like when him and his father were playing golf, and then at the end, it was when his father was passing away, and it was just quick, and it was so surreal. And then you're thinking about your own family, and like you're coming back. You're like, we left there. I wanted to call my wife, everybody, my father, mother, right there, and how life's so short. So
just let them know you love them. I know, man.
And it just all freaking came into like, why are we scared to do things? Why are we scared to prospect? Why are we scared to do anything? Because at the end of the day, who cares what people think? Because it's a fear thing for a lot of. That's what he was telling us. Don't be scared to do anything. Just do it, because life's short and no one cares. If they do, that's cool.
And then the importance of how finite our time is too, and even just put into perspective how we should be taking into consideration like the family time that we spend as well, right?
Oh,
and then the finger snapping, and that finger snapping,
like that.
pulling you back into it, right? He was so good. He's such a good speaker.
He's a pro.
And he is able to transfer his energy right into everybody else. Like, it's powerful shit. And then talking about his dad going through his drinking problems and how he got sober and the power of one more. He kept asking his dad, are you going to stay sober for the rest of your life? And he said, I don't know about the rest of my life, Ed, but I'll do one more day.
Yeah.
I'll do one more day. And then how Ed's transferred that one more mentality into all of his business, where he's doing one more cold call, one more door knock, one more appointment, one more push up, one more mile, one more, just one more of everything, right? And then pushing that. And that's his book, is the power of one more. So he's adopted that entire lifestyle. And even just talking about, how him and his dad would do would go out golfing. And then when his dad was too sick to golf, he started getting his dad to visualize the golf. And then his dad would call him and, hey, just did a round with you. How'd I do, Dad? Oh, you played like shit, to be honest.
Man, that's actually something he does with pro athletes is say for golfers. So say they're golfing. If you actually visualize that putt in your head or visualize that goal going into that basket, going in the net over and over and over again, when you go to do it, it's actually like practicing.
100%.
So he
yeah.
really he helps a lot of pro athletes in that. It was incredible, man.
And it was really nice to hear from him say that what he helps the majority of major athletes and professional athletes with is their mindset. The mindset is that everybody has those doubts and everybody at the highest of levels is working on having that indestructible mindset of just knowing they can do it, but they're still working on that, right? That's something that even the highest level people have to work on. And yeah, he was amazing and just came out there. And I mean, he was talking about how he had an appointment the next morning and how he had some family issues, but he was still there doing what he had to do. Somebody in his family was sick.
He was getting home at 3 a.m, had to be up at 7. He's in his 50s. He's like, so what's your excuse, right?
Had a heart attack. He's on heart attack medication. He's on
still
stage
showed
just
up.
rocking it.
He rolls out on stage. He's like, all right. Enough with the clapping. Let's get to it.
He's like, get your picture so we can get into it here.
But there were so many cool people we got to meet. I really liked I think he was one of your favorites, and I'm glad you have your book out there, is Alan Stein Jr. You tell this story really well, so I want you to do it. But so you can go through it. So Alan Stein was actually Kobe Bryant's, was it mindset coach? Mindset coach. It's with a lot of NBA players. He had a job with ESPN. He's very fortunate. Awesome human. And Brandon's going to tell us a story. He does it real well about how he actually met Kobe and got to work with him.
Yeah. So Alan Stein, he's the highest performing athlete. Alan has worked with the highest performing athletes on the planet, including NBA superstars Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Kobe Bryant. So the story that really hit home with me was how he met Kobe for the first time and just the impact that Kobe had on him. And it was because... So he was there. Who did Kobe play for? Because I'm not a basketball guy.
Lakers.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So Kobe's playing for the Lakers at the time, and Alan Stein shows up, and he's there to kind of assess how he can help with their mindsets. And at the time, Kobe is the up and coming basketball player, like pretty well like known to be. He's
best
gonna be,
in the world.
He's going to be one of the greats coming up, right? Like it was early in his career.
Yeah.
So
okay.
So anyway, so he's like. Everybody knew this was going to be one of the greats. And so he asked him, he says, can I come and watch you train and watch you practice? I want to watch you practice, just see how you do it, because you're one of the best in the world. I want to see how you practice. And he goes, yeah, absolutely. He's like, I'll be there at 4 a.m. And so he's kind of looking at the calendar going, geez. Or sorry, he says 4. He says 4, and he's looking at his calendar, and he's going, well, he's got some things between 3:30 and 4:30 here, and he's looking at it, and then he kind of looks back at him, and he goes, 4 a.m. And he's like, okay. So then Alan Stein goes to the gym, because he's at a hotel at the time, so he leaves his hotel, gets in the cab, and shows up for 3:30, because he wants to show Kobe that he means business. I'm here. I want to be on point. I want to be early. I want to show Kobe that I'm the real deal. Well, when he gets there at 3:30, the lights are already on in the gym, and the ball's dribbling, and their shoes squeaking. Kobe's already inside practicing. He's practicing for his practice. He's warming up for his practice. So he's just like, holy shit, this guy's on another level. So then he goes in and he's watching him, and he's watching Kobe shoot and play and practice. And one thing that he's thinking is, he's like, I teach high school basketball. I've taught basketball before. A lot of stuff that I'm seeing. It's not crazy. It's not this super, like you'd think Kobe be doing like spins and,
just next
behind
level
the back stuff, right? Like something, but it was all very, very kind of simple stuff that he's seen before. So then he asked Kobe afterwards. He says, Kobe, man, you're one of the greatest. Don't take any offense when I say this, but a lot of stuff I seen you do today, it was just simple. It was just regular stuff. Like what's the secret sauce? And then he kind of looks at him and he smiles and he winks and he says, that's the difference between me and everybody else. I don't get bored with the basics.
I love that, man.
And it's like,
I love
damn,
that.
right? I don't get bored with the basics. And what a quote from Kobe, because then that really hits home that a lot of people overlook and overcomplicate business, right? And that's another thing that Alan Stein says is complexity undermines success. Complexity undermines execution. And solidify the basics. and simplify success. And it's like, damn, do I ever love that. I love simplifying things, love breaking it down and just trying to make it as simple as possible. And I think that would help a lot of people in business is just what are the basics of your industry? Like for us in real estate, right?
Yep.
It's like lead generation, having conversations.
Yeah, why are you complicating it? Let's
Right?
just keep it simple. Don't fix what's not broken.
Right. Like it's,
Just it's very simple, man. So it's true. Why do you think this guy's a pro? And this resonates with everything.
yeah. And then it's not about me, it's about you.
I love
That's a
that.
beautiful one too. And that's
I've been-
that's just a good reminder. See, a lot of this stuff we know, but it's
Yeah.
just really important reminders. And man, you know what? The more I think about it, the more people just need to be reminded of stuff on a daily basis. Like I was just listening to Alex Hermosi talk this morning, and he was saying how like he's like, go back on your posts from a year ago and look at your top post. He's like, you should reshare that with your new audience because chances are there's new people who are watching you now. But what you're saying for your top post a year ago is that's just for my OGs. That's for them back then. He's like, people need to be reminded of what's good. And
Right. That's a good call.
He's like, when I see a quote from Socrates or from like Marcus Aurelius, he's like, I don't think, oh, not Marcus Aurelius again. That guy lived 4,000 years ago. Like he's irrelevant.
Right.
He's like, I read this quote and think, is that ever genius? Even though the guy hasn't been alive for thousands of years, we're still reading this going, that's a good quote. So it's just being reminded
Right.
on a daily basis, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, if something is good, then it's just good to remind people. And a lot of people have short memories too. So I'm like, yeah,
Especially
man.
today.
So then
Shit.
it's not about me, it's about you. And then the core values, what's your purpose in real estate? The minds. Here's the other thing. So I love that he said the best athletes have the shortest memories because they don't get caught up on that shot they missed. They don't get caught up on the play that they messed up.
Yeah.
Because if they let that get inside their head, now they're not focusing on the present moment for the rest of the game. But it's like the best athletes are able to realize they messed up, figure out why real quick, and then just keep moving forward. Just keep
Yeah,
moving
man.
forward. So then it's doing the best you can with what you have, where you're at.
That's right. And that's the same with us too, or anybody in real estate. Like if you lose that listing or lose that buyer or just something goes whatever, like guess what? It doesn't matter. There's all kinds of stuff to do. Keep pushing forward because I used to do that, man.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. It would start to spin.
You'd
just start-
lose a deal, especially it could be someone close to you, or why didn't they go with me? It used to bother you. It'd eat you up. And now I'm like, oh, cool. Whatever. Wish you all the best.
Yeah.
All kinds of stuff to do. Real estate's quite simple, man. When you go to these events and start seeing that, it's very simple. People complicate the hell of it. All you got to do is talk to homeowners. That's it.
Yeah.
It's quite simple. But
We'll build relationships.
build
yeah.
relationships, talk to them. That's it, man. And it's like you just
Reach
said, it's
people.
not about me. It's
Reach
about
people.
you. And we've been using that since, like, when I first got into the business. Again, I wasn't around the right people, so I learned real quick that being transactional is not good.
No.
And then again, being around all of this is it's incredible. It's all about everybody else, you know? It's not about me, it's about you.
Yeah.
What do you want? You tell me. I'll do my best to make it happen.
Right.
If you don't want it, great.
Well, you're able to figure out how you can help someone better that way too, right? Like
Oh,
sit down
yeah.
and
And they
like,
feel
hey, let me-
comfortable with you.
Right, tell me your situation. What's important? What's going on? What are your concerns? What are your worries? Where do you want to go? So that I can help figure out how I can help you. Right?
Yeah.
You know, like you can show up there and tell them how great you are till the friggin' cows come home, but that's
don't do
not
that.
But that's not actually
No.
going to help figure out how you can help them, right?
Yep.
I mean, if you don't actually, and that's why a big part of this is just like listening to people too and just hearing where they're coming from and meeting people where they're at. That's another saying that a lot of people have is meeting people where they're at, which is also important too. And I think a big part of that is just figuring out it's not about me, it's about you. Meeting
Freaking
people where
right,
they're
man.
at. Man, I love it. Do the best you can with what you have where you're at.
And
Like
and
that should be,
that's a
I should
big
write that
one.
on the wall somewhere because
That's
that's
a big
just
one.
like anybody can apply that, right? Do the
Because
best
say you
can.
have Brandon has top of the line cameras. I have an iPhone. Let's just say whatever.
Right.
It doesn't matter. Do the best with what you got. Like there's all
Right.
just
And a lot of
make
people will
it
use
work.
that as an
Don't-
excuse, right?
Yeah, I need this. I need that. I need the whatever. It Doesn't matter. Just do the best with what you got. Man, I just listed a property. It's going up today, but I was at their house and I just, one of the things I said to them, I was like, look, guys, I'm going to tell you what we need to do. But if you decide not to do something and you don't want to sell at all, I don't care. It's not about me. It's about you. I don't care if you sell in 10 years or you never sell. It doesn't matter. I want you to feel comfortable and just look at me as a friend and that's it. And we'll trust each other.
Yeah.
We're not. It goes a long friggin' way, man.
Oh, 100%, man. 100%.
But that all resonates with what you bring back. And it's so important to get out of your, doesn't matter where we live in New Brunswick, but it's so important to get out of your home province or state or city and get out into the world and go to these. Like, we've been to 4 in the last year, just the way it worked out. And it's so important to change that mindset and get around other people. I can't emphasize it enough. It's changed a lot of things for me. Like, we're bringing, anyway, there's some stuff I can't even say, but yeah. So,
and then Brian Covey, he was amazing too. So
he was the first. No, that was
he's the one that grew a mortgage company from 245 million to 2.45 billion in less than 5 years.
That's so.
And
that doesn't even make sense.
He was an athlete as well, right? So he comes from a very competitive background. And one thing I love that he said is design your calendar with priorities first. Mm-hmm. Be selfish.
I'm very selfish with
and
my
it's
calendar.
like, right.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, that's the way you should be. And it's almost, people hear that. Oh, well, what do you mean? And it's like, well, you have to live a life too. In order for you to help your clients, in order for you to help everybody to the fullest, you need to make sure that you're taking care of what you need to take care of, or else you're not going to be present and not going to be focusing on what you need to do, right? And I think a lot of business people get that messed up, and I know I did for the longest time, because we get in like the survival.
We didn't even know.
Well, you get into survival mode, right? Where it's like you need to just, where all you're thinking about is business. And even before we started going to these conferences, I was thinking, I can't afford to go to a conference because I don't have the time, I don't have the money.
Resources,
and it's like, I don't have, like, that's not a smart business decision. For me, what a smart business decision was just grinding it out and like, but you're not changing anything. No. And it's like, in order for things to change, things have to change.
Man,
in order to see a change, there has to be some change.
Since we went to our first one out of the 4, I've doubled my income.
Yes, sir.
And I swear it's from that. I know it is. The connections, the people, the relationships. But what was I going to say? Frig, what were you just talking about before? Like 2 seconds ago.
In order for
the
things
mortgage
to change.
guy. No, what was his?
Brian Covey.
Brian Covey. I forget, man. I lost it. Friggin' lost it.
So then he says, okay, here's another thing that I love that Brian Covey, that's why I'm glad I have my book.
Yes, keep going. You were on a roll, and I had something and I lost it. I'm a little foggy today.
You're most powerfully qualified to serve who you once were 3 to 5 years ago.
So
I love that.
Let me ask you this about you. So he said that. So what, man, dude, I remember, so Brandon and I were in the parking lot at our previous brokerage, and I just started. And this has to do with this. I just started at this brokerage. I came from another. I was like, hey, man, it's so good to meet you, dude. I'm Evan Young. Yeah, Brandon Vincent. He goes, yeah, you too, man. I'm leaving. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, where are you going? And we chat a little bit about EXP. And
I said there's a really cool opportunity.
I was like, okay.
There's this guy named Mike Sherrard.
There's this guy named Mike Sherrard.
And there's this thing called the Wolf Pack and a company called EXP.
And I'm like, all right. Cool, let's look at it. So I did, and we knew we were leaving for a year. It was so funny. And the reason I tell that short story there was because, and you can ask, I'll answer it as well, but back then we were standing in a parking lot. I was working a job I was miserable at. You had a Kia Rio hatchback that had more body work on it than, I don't even know.
I did the body work on it.
We were two... I was
still doing the military part-time.
Yes, we were both like not happy, didn't know what we wanted, where we wanted to go. So let me ask you, what you just said, President, what you once were, what is the difference you've seen? That was only 3 years ago, not even 3 years ago, dude.
Yeah,
huge
I know,
change.
It's crazy. It is crazy.
I mean, you look at everything. back then we were weekend partying,
Yeah.
doing
yeah.
whatever, no routine on the gym. Like, so
Right. No
what?
calendar. No.
No,
Yeah.
nothing.
No structure.
No structure. So
Yeah.
what was the biggest change for you and why? Is that
What was
too
the
broad
big?
of a question?
No, sure. What was the biggest change? The biggest change is definitely the mindset for sure. Because the crazy thing is that we're still the same people. It's like, we haven't changed the physical of who we are. We're still Evan. You're still Evan. I'm still Brandon. So it's
Yeah.
like, but what's changed is the wiring, is the internal software, the systems inside. Our minds have changed completely, the way that we operate. And that's the crazy part, because like I always wanted to do well. I always had the ambition. I always knew I wanted to do what I'm doing right now, but I just didn't know how. I wasn't doing the right activities, and I thought I was, and I thought I knew, but I but I didn't, and that's the problem. You kind of get stuck in this groove of, oh, I just need to work, and that's how I'm going to fix all the problems. I'm just going to outwork them, or I'm gonna just think I'm working. And sometimes, you can do a lot of effort on the wrong stuff too, right? There can be a lot of effort put in, and even if the mindset's wrong, then the way you're approaching the tasks and doing the work is wrong as well. So there's just so much to it. And I mean, it's even like I'm reading the Napoleon Hill Think and Grow Rich right now, and just like how a positive mindset attracts more positive situations, right? So even if you're doing the right things, but you're kind of like a little bit negative, like, oh, thinking the world owes you something, thinking that you're entitled to something, that, even though you're not saying it, even though you're not going around saying, I deserve this or I deserve that, if you have that
This
mindset,
person's lucky. This person's
that
this, yeah.
vibration, right? People feel that. People feel that little bit of like grittiness on you that's not right. It's like something, even though you're working hard doing the right stuff, you might have the wrong mindset or the right kind of or the wrong vibrations coming from it. So there's just so much to it, man. And it sounds fluffy, it sounds corny, but like it's actually true, because once you start to do stuff with the right intentions, so like you said, transactional, being transactional at first, and how that's not a good way to be. And once you start realizing it's not about me, it's about you, and you start actually coming from it from this whole different mindset of, and once you stop caring about the money too, right? That's funny. When you stop caring about the money, that's when it becomes easier to make money, because you're not, you don't have the commission breath, is what some people call it.
Yeah, man.
Of like, I need the deal. Like, hey, do you want to buy anything or sell anything with me? Hey, do you want to buy anything? Like, or just, hey, how's it going? How's everything going in life?
Yeah.
Let's sit down and talk for a little bit. And then you listen to them and
Yep.
your cousin's thinking of selling, like, hey,
Cool.
I'd love to help them if they need anything. Do they have a real estate agent? Oh, they do? Perfect. Excellent. Are they happy? Good. That's
Yeah.
it. I just want to make sure people are taken care of.
And I want to emphasize the mindset, because I know a lot of people talk about that, about mindset, and say, oh, it's all but like, dude, mindset is literally everything. It changed absolutely everything for both of us. And it all started with getting around the right people.
Yeah.
Right? This is my third real estate brokerage I was at, and I can promise you right now, if me and you stay where we were, we'd be still maybe not the same, but pretty damn close.
Yeah.
Right? So mindset's everything, man. It's incredible. Changed everything. Now that old car you had is gone, and now you're driving a brand new F-150, and which is pretty incredible, man. Tremor package. We
You know what's funny, man? I always wanted to get a truck.
Not to bring that up or anything, but I think that's a huge, because you always, and I wanted that. I was like, dude, do it. You deserve it. Yeah. Go do it. But you look back, that was 2.5 years ago, man.
I've been driving used vehicles for 10 years. I've been driving used vehicles for 10 years now. And because so when I first turned like 16, I was full-time in the military. And the bank's willing to lend you anything at that point, because you get a full-time job and you get fresh credit. Yeah. So I bought a brand new Honda Civic, and I was driving that around for a little bit. And then I got into business, where it's like, oh, you start sharpening your teeth on that, and you realize you're not making as much money when you start off as you think. That was when I had the spa. And I was pretty well bringing home like $200 a week, like no money, because we had staff to pay, we had products to pay, we had rent, we had advertising, we had all this stuff that we had to pay. So there was no money left over. I remember the first time that I wrote myself a check, my own check that I wrote from a business that I owned to myself. It was a $200 check that I wrote to myself, and it felt fucking great.
Yes,
It
sir.
felt great because I'm now writing my own checks, which was crazy. But there wasn't a lot of money in it, though, right? That's why I was still doing the military part-time. So I'd work like
Right.
60, 70 hours a week at this spa, which was crazy because I knew nothing about the spa industry. And then I went and worked on the weekends, literally sleeping outside in a freaking tent, and then coming back home completely exhausted, going over that and burned myself out hard.
Fuck, can I
So
resonate
it's
to
like,
that?
and
Ooh.
and then I've always wanted a truck, though. To get back to that, I've always wanted the truck, which is very. It's nice having one. It's nice, like I was just, you're. I wanted to get the truck because it's like it's one of the least selfish vehicles you can get because I can help other people with the truck. I can pick stuff up. I can help
Yep.
clients move shit. I'm like, you know what? This is a functional. This is functional, and I
Yeah.
think that I can help more people out. And like, I'm the kind of guy that like if I see somebody like I've pulled people out of spots when we were with friends and trucks and stuff, and I'm like, that's fun. I like doing this stuff. I like helping people out.
Yeah, same, man. It's just, dude, it's so
And
crazy.
yeah, and I
That
always
was
wanted
2.5 years ago that we were in that fucking parking lot, man.
Is that it? Yeah,
2.5 to
yeah.
3, dude.
Almost 3 years. Yeah, yeah.
Like, and like,
Think
anyway,
of how much
yeah.
we did in this short amount of time.
How much
right?
we did in this short amount of time, and
Here's a really good caveat to what you're
shit.
saying. Outlast and outclass the competition.
there is no competition.
Outlast. There's always competition. There's always competition. Outlast and outclass them.
So
There is no competition. I know what you mean. Sure, like
this is
it's
incredible.
me
though.
versus me all day. But at the same time, we are at the same time in business. There is competition, right? There's always going to be competition. That's the beautiful part of it. If there's no
Yeah.
competition, it'd be
Foot fell
simple.
asleep.
Everybody be doing it. Outlast and outclass the competition. What do you think of that?
I think they outclass the competition is the biggest thing. I love it, man.
You
and
think
if you
outclasses?
outclass them, you're gonna outlast them. That's all.
Maybe,
You know what I mean?
maybe you could outclass, but maybe you don't have the grit to do it for the long term.
Dude, I have the
It's
freaking
easy.
grit.
Someone
You
can
have the grit.
outclass. Someone can outclass people, but they might not be able to do that forever.
No, that's right.
So it's
But man, it's
what I like the marathon race of it. I like that. I like the
I
fact.
just friggin'
I like
like
what
the-
you're saying because we're 3 years in right now, like 3 years into EXP, and with the outlast, think of how long we actually have in this business and how much we're accomplishing in this short amount of time.
And what we're
Versus,
going-
it's like we're in the first quarter of the football game. It's like we're 5 minutes into the first quarter.
Dude, we were the we were the only two that came over here about 3 years ago, and people kind of laugh. It's so funny. Now we have a big team coming over next week. I think there's going to be like 15 of us within 2.5 years, and we had a little
Pretty
get
well just started that like in the last year though.
yeah, basically a year ago, and we have people that are working with us, taking nothing from them, branding themselves, and they're making more money. They're literally like crying because they've never been around a group like this before. We're just passing down from what we're around, right, and giving it to all these realtors. And
Well, that's the beauty is that they get
it's-
both of that, right? They get the leadership that we have, and then
But I don't think
and then we
people
get to try
realize
to
the
pour
fucking-
back in as much as possible in that smaller scale. You know what it reminds me of? It literally reminds me of the military in a way, where like you have your major at the top that kind of gives a brief to everybody, and they're kind of like telling their sergeant majors kind of like, okay, here's what I want done, and then the sergeant majors are all passing that down to the warrants, and then the
Yeah.
warrants pass that down to sergeants, and then the sergeants pass that down to the master corporals, and the master corporals run sections of their 5 people and say, okay, guys, here's what we're doing, and it's
Yeah.
like that's kind of what it is. There's almost like a
It's like every job, man. There's
it's
passed
just
down.
so incredible. It's so incredible.
But like, there's
and
no
just, like,
there's no bullshit here with us. Like,
so incredible, man.
yeah, it is. It's nuts. So yeah. Anyway, we did Nashville. We came back and got everything changed again around. And holy shit, man! Now I'm looking at things and I'm like, shit, I need to readjust everything again, like a little bit. Like
100%.
you're constantly tweaking things, and it's fucking wicked, man. We have I don't even know what to say, dude. It changed my life. Changed my whole entire life, bro.
Yeah, well, there's always, and who else was really good too? Get Shit Done, Joshua Smith.
GSD.
Joshua Smith, and then talking about the KPIs, the key performance indicators, and I'm like, I like that too. And it's like, what is the actual key, key performance indicators? So he was saying real estate should be the easiest and the most predictable business. And it's like, wow. A lot of people would say that's a controversial statement. And it's like, well, is it? So he's saying,
I don't think so.
if you just have, if you have certain KPIs, which I think for him it was conversations. Let me pull it right up here. Joshua Smith. It was day 2. Oh man, and then friggin', this was so good. So KPI, total conversations, total reach outs, and total appointments set. Those are his KPIs. Not winging it. The total conversations, total reach outs, and total appointments set. So that's what he measures daily, right? Am I having conversations? Am I reaching out? And am I setting appointments?
That's right. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday on our call with our group. Like, it's quite simple. Like, stick to what works for you. Don't worry about anything else. Stick to the basics. Like Kobe Bryant, just because you like YouTube, some people like door knocking, it doesn't matter. Do what you like. Stick to it until you get that basically perfected. Get your appointments, talk to people, and then learn something new. Don't start to do 2, 3, 4, 5 different things because it just nothing ever gets accomplished. Don't you agree? From that, if you're bouncing around from,
don't spread yourself too thin.
that's right. And Michael said too, don't
focus on what you're good at.
Well, focus on what you're good at,
Find
and
things
then
that you're good at. Now, at the same time, too, he also says like understanding that if you're going to start in a YouTube journey, realize that that's going to take time to actually become something that is a lead generation source. So, yes, I agree, but at the same time, if you want to branch out, just kind of like realize that what I'm going to start with,
it's not going to happen in 3 months,
right?
Like
nothing happens quick, and that you have to put time in to kind of build those skill sets.
That's
up,
just I
like
told
anything.
our new agent there. We just brought on brand new realtor. We got to get him on here. Closes a $500,000 deal, brand new in the business, 2 months. Now he's out there. He's cold calling daily, and I told him, I said, cold calling, door knocking, YouTube, whatever. He's going to be a listing dominant realtor in 2 years or less. It's like, and if he was at another brokerage, he'd get zero trading. I met with a girl the other day by mistake at a coffee shop. She learned more things from me in 20 minutes than she did in 3 months at a brokerage because of the people were around.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I know I got a little off topic there, but it was just on my on my mind. But yeah, man, just don't give up in 3 months. Like Mike posted 3 videos a week for a year straight. Nothing.
Yeah.
Right. So. Yeah.
I was thinking about how things are hard. Actually, this is something that the Iron Cowboy, James Lawrence, said. So he was saying that everybody's hard's different, right? Everybody's level of hard is different. And it's the same in endurance training as it is in business, where the first time you do something, the first time you run, that's hard. The first time you run 5K, if you've never ran 5K before, the first 5K, that's tough. It's a challenge. And then getting to 10K is a challenge.
Yeah.
But eventually you build that up and you keep pushing past these barriers. Right. Now you're running a marathon. And now 5K is easy. 5K is no longer that hard. Same in business, where you start off with YouTube. The first video, that's hard.
Fucking brutal. The
second video, it's hard. And then you try to figure out, can I do 2 in a day? That becomes hard. But then you start getting to a point where it's like, okay, I've been doing it for so long now that it's a little bit easier.
Yeah.
And you start getting better at it, and you start finding the tweaks and the adjustments.
You're scared. A lot of it's fear for people too.
Yeah, a lot of it's fear. A lot of it is just practice. But I mean, are people scared to go to the gym?
Yeah.
Are they scared to walk in? They're scared to be judged, right?
Yeah,
sure.
that's right.
Yeah, absolutely. But even once you get in, and then it's like, well, what am I going to do? What do I do? That's a big part of it too. Is what do I do?
They're scared to ask for help.
That's a big portion of it. Is what do I do?
I don't know
right?
what to do. People are going to laugh at me.
So let's say that you told someone to do a YouTube video. Let's say that somebody that didn't get the training that we have through the Wolf Pack, and you said, "Yeah, go make a YouTube video on a market update." Well, what do you do? Where do you start?
I wouldn't have a clue.
Right?
Now I do.
Right, because we got all the training resources available to show people,
literally,
like step by step.
Thousands of dollars. You know what? We're gonna do we're gonna show this on this podcast. We'll bring it up. We'll scroll through the course real quick and just show you. Just like you can scroll down all the different types of training. It starts from the top, right from making your banner to what you should use. And anyway, wouldn't have a clue. wouldn't have an idea. But again, with the training, we'll pack crazy. What do you find hard now? I'm not talking about running. Like, what do you find hard for business? Like, what do you what like?
And
What's
there's always things that are going to be a little bit hard.
what do you find hard
I find
to
now
stick to?
organizing hard. I
Yeah.
find organizing, getting processes and systems in place is hard now because I've never done that. It's not something I'm very
Nobody
familiar
shows
with.
you though.
Sure, nobody shows you. So it's like now my whole mindset is okay. And I've talked about this before, but it's kind of, and I've slowly been getting the processes in place, get the calendar dialed in, but that's always changing. Everything's always changing and adjusting too. That's the important part is the same thing's never going to work forever.
Never. Nothing
The same
stays
things,
the same.
The same thing's never going to work forever. So then it's always kind of like doing something, and I like the 12-week year that we talk about, doing
Yep.
it for 12 weeks, figure out what works, and then figure out what worked during that quarter that I can move to this one, and what can I adjust to make this a little bit more seamless. And
when you get good at it,
and
break
then
it down to a week.
consistency. I guess consistency is hard. There we go.
Yeah,
That's
because
hard. Consistency
is hard because what I find is you were talking about it earlier, Brandon, about being selfish with your calendar, because people will fill it up.
Yep.
Like this week, for instance, has been a little bit different because we got 3 or 4 agents coming over with us next week, but so you got to tend to certain things once in a while. But
Plus,
it's funny when
I've
people
been
want
using
to,
this week to readjust too.
yeah,
After listening to Mike talk about that, taking the step back, and then
slow down to speed up.
speed up. Exactly.
So when you do that, when people start, it's funny when you say like, "Hey," like I had people text me, "Hey, I wanna meet with you, want an in-person meeting today or tomorrow." I'm like, "Sorry, I can't meet you till next Wednesday," and like get a little bit upset, and I'm like, "I'm sorry, I got stuff to do. I got my business to build." Like I've never been shown this at the past 2 brokerages I've been at. Actually, even if we were just at EXP, I think it would probably be the same. I've never been shown how to grow, how to develop, how to put systems in place, how to grow mentally, physically, emotionally, like everything. This group, it changed. It's unbelievable. And we're very hard on ourselves because we hold such a high standard to what we want to do. But now, once you get good at it based off the 12-week year, everybody should read that book. Once you get good at it, you can actually change it, look at it weekly, every single week, what worked and what didn't.
Right.
And, oh man, once you get to that point, start getting things in place and things just start to happen. Like I don't even look at what I'm making. I had to get somebody ask me the other day, how many deals you do? And then some other guy, how much money you make? I don't know. They're like, well, you must know. I said, I could, honest to God, on my kid's life, I really do not know. I don't have a sweet clue. I don't look at it. As soon as one's firmed up, I'm like, okay, need to help somebody else now. Need help.
Yeah.
Like, I have no clue. I couldn't tell you if I did 10 deals or friggin' 30. I really have no clue.
Yeah.
I should,
Interesting.
but I don't. I don't look at it because I find it a distraction.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit, I only did one this month.
I definitely look at it every once in a while. I
even
definitely
know
peek
how.
in just to figure. I don't even know how. No, I definitely look at it just to figure out, like, am I on track? Am I ahead of last year? Am I behind last year? Where am I at? Where am I standing? What do I need to do? And maybe sometimes I shouldn't look at it because it's just focusing on the same activities are going to get you the results, right?
You know what Mike
just
told
focusing
me?
on the same activities are going to get you the results.
He's like, the goals are good, but like if you focus on winning the day and the week,
That's the
that's it. That's what you got to do versus
Right.
focusing on 5 transactions or 25 because it doesn't matter. Things change in the market. The whole thing change. You know, there's elections coming up. There's things could change, but like just focus on what you need to do on that day and everything will fall into place over
100%.
time. Because I just found that was a distraction. I'm like, man, I didn't get that deal this month and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, but guess what? If I look at the day, I'm like, shit, I got 5 new contacts today.
Yep.
Sick. Beautiful. Keep doing that and that and that. And
that compounds.
compounds. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man. So cool.
Winning the day, man. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do
and
it.
that, I find that hard.
Yeah.
I find it hard because, again, sometimes I'm not very as selfish as I need to be with my calendar. I find it a little hard to win the day sometimes.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
then that
definitely.
bothers me, man.
Definitely.
Going into the weekend, I try to do very little, and it'll bother me. Like, man, like, shit, I didn't do as much as I should this week. And we're all very hard on ourselves because we, again, set ourselves to a high standard because, anyway, yeah, I find that hard.
Yeah, the consistency is definitely. I mean, consistency. That's what separates the good from the great, right? That's
But you do a very
being
good job
consistent.
at that.
Being
though.
consistent
Just know that.
is the tough part. And like I look at it, I look back to even the last year, and I'm like, sure, okay, so I'm about to run my 4th marathon, but I know if I would be
So
running
crazy.
if I'd be running more. But here's the thing though, is that like, is the time improving? Not really. I'm just doing it. I'm just kind of doing it. Am I getting better at it? It's getting easier. I'm not getting better. I'm just getting
Right.
more comfortable doing it. The first time I was completely wrote off and like
But
almost in
dude,
tears at
you
the
were
end of it.
running in the rain for like how many kilometers was that?
It was horrible. Oh yeah, yeah. It was in the
was-
rain. But then even the last one I did in Bangor was in the rain, and I was fine when I finished. But it was just because it's like I already knew what to expect. I already knew it's going to get that hard, so I'm prepped going into it. It's like you kind of get that your baseline for hard resets when you do hard stuff.
Yep.
And then also in business, when you
Yes,
accomplish
that's very true.
when you accomplish certain things, now your standard is raised to what the standard is. So like now our standard keeps getting higher and higher.
does.
So our baseline of where we should be is
so
higher and higher.
bad.
Think about how high it's raised over the last year.
Man, it never stops raising. That's the thing. You
Right.
have
The standard keeps
and I like
raising.
that quote that you don't really. How's it go? You've already accomplished goals that you've wanted to achieve, and you
Yeah,
look at
Alex
that, and I'm like,
Hormozy says that,
and I'm
yeah.
like, holy shit, I have.
Right.
And
You've
I'm like,
already accomplished the
it just
things you
keeps
said you
going.
wanted
It
to
keeps
achieve.
going. It keeps going.
Like even at the start of the year, like I'm already like, so at the start of this year, I had certain goals, and I've
killed
hit
the goals.
I've hit about 75% of them
They say
already, and
they-
there's still a full quarter left.
They say if you could, this is the true. That's actually in the 12-week year.
But then it's like-
80%. If you can do 80%,
Yeah.
that is a.
But then it's
friggin-
like, then you need to readjust, right? So that's where you need to readjust. So some people will say, I've already hit the goals, I can take the time off now. And each person's prerogative is their own. Whatever their level of success and comfort for people want, I'm not judging at all.
No, my God,
But-
no, Jesus, no.
For me, I'm like, okay, I need to reset, because as soon as I stop focusing or I stop having a direction, I get kind
Sluggish.
of I get sluggish, I get
Yep.
depressed, I get
Need a
anxious.
purpose.
I get anxious when I'm even if I'm moving, but if I don't know the direction I'm going, I get anxious. So
Same.
it's like every once in a while I have to reset and I have to refocus and rejig the calendar, and that's what I'm working on this week, is like the reset and buying new equipment, gonna get new lights, new camera, gonna kind of level that up. I'm like, if I'm spending so much time doing content, then I may as well have a high quality for it,
Right.
and then that's gonna help me want to invest more time into it, and just the whole thing. I mean, even the mics, laptops, like
This is all work. This is
Yeah,
all work. I enjoy
it's all
it, though.
extra.
I enjoy it. Yeah, I'm glad we got to share some of this stuff, man. There's
it
a
was
lot
really
more to
good.
it. If anybody wants to chat a little bit about it, anything at
What else do we
all, you're
have
having a
here?
hard time. This is a hard time of year right now. Hard, tough year for a lot of people. So, look, we have a lot of tricks and tips that we're learning from these high level people that we can offer that for just to help. I don't mind at all. So that's what it's all about.
your perspective. This is Mike Sherrard. Your perspective will be your prison or your passport.
It's cool. I like that. What
Love
a
it.
beauty he is.
Love
What a
it.
beauty. Shout out to you, Mike.
Love it. Love the group we have. I love the people that are coming in our group. I love the stuff that we're doing. I
Oh,
love
man.
the
Like, there's some
I love
big-
the things we're learning. That's all good. It's just my medals. It's just my hard-earned work
There's some
there.
big things coming, man.
There is.
Big things coming down
We're
the pipe.
we're just hitting the tip of the iceberg here. We're just getting started.
That's so crazy.
We're just getting started, man.
It's freaking crazy, dude. I love it.
It's nuts.
Yeah. So anyway,
Cool.
yeah.
That's it.
That's it, man. Let's wrap her up.
That's it. That's all.